Hello, welcome to day 94, I believe, of 365 days of Facebook Lives, and I'm just going to ground myself with some sage. Got this from a local store here in Florida called Expedito. I love her stuff. I have this money oil, a ritual that I use every Monday when I connect with money. It's so good. It's like when I smell it, I'm like, oh, okay, it's time to talk about money. It's time to feel into money. And I got this. It has like all the different colors of the chakras. And lately when I've been lighting the sage, it's just like, oh, it's just kind of like, I just melt into myself. So, I just wanted to clear any energies that are not serving me, to give this live and call in clear communication when it comes to sexuality. So good. And I do want to get a different one of these because this has like holes here on the side, which is super cute, but all the ashes come out. So I need to get a better one. Make sure I put that out. I've noticed that if I put it out, when I go to relight it, it actually lights a little bit better. Okay, so I got my notes here on the laptop this time. One of the things I need to get is a new chair right away, because this, or maybe Ron can look at it, but it does that clinking noise. And when I'm coaching my clients through Telegram, you can hear it when I move, and it's a little distracting. So today I want to talk to you about sex, and how it's not about the sex, but it is about the sex, right? So if you're here and you're watching, you probably want to have more sex in your life, better sex in your life, better relation to sex in your life, better sex with your man, a better relationship to sexuality in your own body and feeling more comfortable in your body. And perhaps you think that sex is the problem. Perhaps there's something that you're not doing in the bedroom, or something that you're not wearing, or whatever it is that's not creating the type of sex life that you want. And I'm here to tell you that that's not it. That's not it. Because it's not about the sex. But it is about the sex, right? It's like a paradox, I think, is the right way to use those different words, like paradox, acronym, not acronym, obviously not acronym, paradox, oxymoron, ironic, whatever. That's definitely not my area of expertise, the human language. But there's an experience that you want to tap into when it comes to your relationship to sex, when it comes to your husband, your long-term committed partner, or if you are single, when you call in your partner, which I'm going to do another live about sex and about being single and about calling in your sacred union. And it's not just about achieving more orgasms, right? And better orgasms, right? It's not about the orgasms, although it is about the orgasms. It goes beyond that, because sex is a symptom to something deeper. When I used to be a personal training client, when I used to be a personal trainer, a body transformation coach, when my clients would come to me with their food struggles, it was never about the food. But it was about the food. So food played a role in their life, and certain things about food, certain habits that they created around food, certain beliefs, certain fears, and all those things. But food was not the root problem. Food was never, ever the root problem. The root problem stemmed deeper. it stemmed beyond anything to do with food, and it went to coming back to an emptiness that they felt within them, a way that their parents have related to them, a way that people in their life had related to them, and they've severed themselves in half and they weren't whole. And in order to not associate with the feelings that they were not feeling, they would stuff themselves with food. They couldn't regulate themselves. So food was the thing that they went to, because there's a whole stimulation that happens in the brain, and it's not just about food. It happens with any type of drug addiction, sex addiction, all of those things. So it wasn't about the food. I barely worked on the food, created some good habits so that biologically their body wasn't hungry and starving, and then they would eat a lot. So there is components to it, but mainly it was never about the food. It was so much easier for them to stick to their habits when I addressed the root problem. So same thing when it comes to sex. If you're not feeling fulfilled in your sex life, if you're not fulfilled in the bedroom with your husband, partner, or you've had this experience before in the past, and you're feeling a little disconnected from yourself and nervous to go to this step in a relationship when that happens, it's not about the sex. It's about something deeper. Something deeper. It's not about achieving more orgasms, although it is certainly welcomed. But it's something deeper than that. It's not just about getting closer to your husband or to your partner. Although, of course, you want that, and we welcome that. Like, we deeply, deeply, deeply want that. But it's also more than that. When it comes to sacred sexuality work, it really is about purifying your vessel, your pussy, and your womb. It's about purifying your pussy, your vessel, your pussy womb field, as I like to call it. It's about reclaiming the sacredness of sex. For most women, sex has been something that has been very shameful or very exploited, overused, abused, overgiving. Something that they never were able to claim for themselves, like their body. I remember for most of my life, up until when I started doing sacred sexuality work, which would be, I don't know, mid-30s, like 33, 34. I never felt like my body was my own body. From 8 years old. 8 years old was the first time a grown-ass man ever said anything about my body. Where does this come from? We were on vacation and I was just doing some cartwheels. He was drunk and he never tried anything. But I remember he said something to me. God, what did he say something to me? Can't remember what he said. Goes to my mom. I go to my mom. My mom she comes up and then he goes away drunk with all his friends. And I'm like, what was that? And he was like, Mommy, you're just a very beautiful girl. You have a very beautiful body. 8 years old. That was the first time I ever felt that my body wasn't mine and being objectified. And it continued. I had some experiences where a man very close to me crossed the line. And I started to understand the power that my body has, the attention that I would give. So it was the sacredness of my vessel was not there. It was not there. I was never taught really about the sacredness of my vessel. By the time my mom gave me a ring about being a virgin, I had already lost my virginity. And there was nothing sacred about that. Nothing sacred about how I lost my virginity. Right? So, and now that's just the beginning of my story. So most women, or women who are attracted to, I'm not even going to say most, women who are attracted to this kind of work has had some sort of experience like this. Not all. Some of them have more of a different experience. Maybe you have had more of a suppression to it, where you kind of were told the same, like certain things from like the church or from parents, where you never really explored this area, never overused it or abused it. Instead, you felt like you weren't wanted and desired by your partner or your husband because they also carried the same beliefs, because whatever beliefs were given to you when we're told from your parents and all the things, you're gonna match that in your relationship until you heal that, right? So there is a different side to this as well. There is a different side to it where women actually didn't really use or explore this area. Instead, it was more of something that was kept bottled down. Either way, they're both the non-sacred expressions of sex. It's more about fear. Don't have sex. You're gonna, I heard this one in my network marketing meeting. As I was talking about sex priestess. Don't have sex. You're gonna have babies. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna get an illness. You're gonna get an STD. You're gonna get something like that. So there was nothing about sex which is so innate to a woman too, which is so part of our nature to want to feel sexy, to want to activate our inner sacred slut, to want to be seductive, and to want to open up and to a man. And hello, like when our teenage years, this biological thing starts to like, what's this throbbing sensation in between my legs? And some children very innocently will start playing with their bodies at 6 years old, 5 years old, even younger. I remember I had a client who was telling me about this, how her daughter would play with herself, and she would say how it feels good, and she would say all these things, and then she would just educate her and say, oh yeah, honey, right. And make sure that you play with that in the room. You know what I mean? Like very innocently. And there was this other woman, she actually has a book called Sex Priestess, where she started to discover her own body and her own genitalia and the sensations of her clitoris when she was like really young. And she thought it was so normal. Like 6 years old, 5 years old. It's a very normal and natural thing. And it's been so shamed upon and has suppressed so many women, or the other way, or both, caused women to use their bodies in a way that they regret later on in life, to abuse their bodies when it comes to sex, which then later gets affected in their long-term relationships. So this work is about the purification of your vessel, pussy, womb field. It's about returning the holiness and the innocence of sex. The innocence of it. The genesis of where you came from. It's about removing the blocks, the shame, and the trauma. And some of them has nothing to do with sex, really. Sometimes some of the stuff that's really stuck in your womb, stuck in your pussy, stuck in your genitalia, and all this energy here, sometimes has nothing to do with sex and horrible experiences about that. As a matter of fact, on one yoni de-armoring session, which we're going to be doing this inside of Sex Priestess, I said a prayer before going in to this yoni de-armoring session. and it was about money. And I remember going in, and I remember, which I'm going to share the full story inside of Sex Priestess. It's a very beautiful story, and it's a very intimate story. But as I was de-armoring in there, like pretty much as like trigger work, I remember feeling extremely uncomfortable in my body. Like this overwhelming sensation of uncomfortableness, when you just want to get out of your own skin. It was uncomfortable, but I was guided intuitively to keep the yoni wand inside. Just hold it inside, not take it out, but just keep it inside. Feeling really uncomfortable, and my arms moved and they wrapped around me. It was as if into what it felt was God was moving my arms to wrap me and to tell me that I am here for you. He's like, it's okay to feel uncomfortable. I am here. And I allowed my body to feel uncomfortable. I moved my body very uncomfortably and felt all the things. And then afterwards, I was like, whoa, that was a wild experience. And that had nothing to do with sex. A few months later after that, I have to really check my notes to see the dates. And that's one of the journals that I did keep from the 7 years, because there's very important information in there, or just very important journaling sessions that I wanted to share in Sex Priestess, where I was like, wow, that was something. And a few months after that is when Ron and I had our transcendental sexual experience. So that had nothing to do with money. With sex, right? This is what I'm saying. It's not always about sex. There could be other things, other experiences. There was an energy that was stuck when I was working on the first gate, which is the outer yoni lips and your clitoris. When I was working on the outer lips and the clitoris, one thing that came through to me was something that happened with my mother. At a certain time, I was like 24, very, very, one of the hardest times of my life, the darkest moments of my life, for real. So hard, so confusing. And my mother responded to me, and she treated me in a way that because that gate is governed by the maiden, where I was just like, oh my God. I felt the innocence of my own unknown in the area of my life that was so confusing. And my mother couldn't support me, and as a matter of fact, she was the complete opposite of that, and making me feel worse and threatening me. That gate of the maiden that was in the clitoris and the outer yoni lips, which was also directly connected to here, was hidden in this gate. So it's not always about the sex. It's about removing the blocks and the shame and the trauma, the overgiving and the misuse, and the vows you've made around sex and men. The vows you have made around sex and men. I vowed to never use my body again. In that vow, I completely shut myself down after my ex. In the bedroom with Ron, I was like, very much like a freaking sack of potato. Like, I'm not doing anything. 2-second blowjob, that's it. I'm not exposing any part of this because, no. That was a vow that I made. I had to remove that vow to myself because it was blocking my relationship to sex with my man. It was blocking me from high levels of ecstasy and high levels of healing with him. So where this all comes to is having the intimate relationship with your body and your pussy that is completely separate from a man. This is sovereign sexuality. This is about a healing journey that is done between you and God, and then integrated with a man, with your man, or with your sacred union partner, or a very, 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 very discerning person that you decide to go to bed with. This is not something you want to open up and practice with just any man. Absolutely not. Do not want to do that. It's highly dangerous for your body. So when you have healed this for yourself, as you begin to build this relationship to yourself, this intimacy with your body that you have never experienced before, let me tell you, you feel that your body is yours. I feel like my body is mine. I was gonna say don't and do not. I was like, do. I do not ever feel like someone is extracting from my body, because I have created a very beautiful, sovereign relationship to my body. I have my own intimate practices where I'm consistently calling my energy, calling my power, calling my sexuality, calling my sensuality back to me, back to myself. Yoni de-armoring, jade eggs, all of these things, which I'm so excited to be living here now and to create a space for myself where I can really anchor in deeper, because I did have to take a pause from these practices. So when yesterday, when I came here live, and I was just like, oh my God, I just did the best practice. It was so juicy and so yummy. I just felt so deeply connected with God, with me, with my truth. This is a returning back to your truth, returning back to your wholeness. And part of that is your sacredness. The enchantress archetype, the sacred slut archetype, the vixen, the naughty girl, the oracle that's deeply connected to her womb and to the cervix orgasms. It is about all of this that you experience so deeply and so intimately with your body. So deeply and so intimately with your body. When you have healed this for yourself, it will be the greatest catalyst to the greatest sex of your life. It will be. It 100% will be. It is your divine right to have the greatest sex of your life with him. It really is. It's not about checking it off on the list. It's not about feeling guilty for saying yes when you really wanted to say no. It's not about feeling guilty for saying no because he really wanted to. It's not meant to feel like you have to do it, or a chore. All these things that I'm mentioning to you are just a symptom. It's not meant for you to feel like you can't fully let go in the bedroom, like you can't surrender to him, and you can't allow him to take you to deeper levels within yourself. This part also has to do with your relationship with men, which we did talk about. This is a really important piece that we'll be talking about in Sex Priestess, because your relationship with men is really, you're giving your body in the most vulnerable way that you can to a man. If you have not been working through your wounds with men and sex, it's gonna be, eventually you're gonna hit that place. In the beginning of a relationship, you won't, because it's a high, it's a first thing, it's a novelty. A novelty? I think that's the right word, the right use for it, right? So this really happens in the long-term context. So this is what we're going to be working on inside of Sex Priestess. We're really going to be working on cultivating a really deep, intimate relationship with your body, removing the blocks, purifying your pussy womb field so that you can have the greatest sex of your life, so you can feel more comfortable in your body and really remove other things in your system that is blocking you from having and accessing more joy, more pleasure, more fun, more money, more abundance, and sustaining higher levels of it. And removing past lovers from your body, all of those things. So this is what we're going to be doing inside of Sex Priestess. It's a 6-week Mistress Mind. We begin July 27th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do not worry if you cannot make it live. They are all recorded. And they are recorded. And we will have 2 weeks until the next transmission. You will have practices that you will be doing. And then 2 weeks until the next transmission and the next. And in between those, we have coaching calls so that integrate all the work, have live interaction with each other, and receiving your breakthroughs that you need when it comes to your sexuality, awakening love and intimacy. And we have a group Telegram chat room. So this is where also we're going to be giving you even more transmissions, more downloads that come through. With the way I hold my mistress minds, and the way is that I will come in with my breakthroughs and where I'm expanding. I will show you through my own embodiment what's happening. And that in itself is a huge calibration. If you're someone who learns by stories, who learns by someone doing the thing, when you're in there with them and they're doing courageous things, it gives you permission to do your own courageous things. And it also allows you to see where you're playing small in your life. This is what a mistress mind is about. This is what we do. This is what I want you to feel. I want you to feel expansive. I want you to feel so deeply in love with yourself, so devoted to yourself, to really, really purify this energy that is keeping you stuck and stagnant when it comes to love and intimacy and orgasm and surrendering to your man. It always starts with you. Just reminded of a girlfriend of mine who's telling me about certain issues in her relationship, and she keeps projecting it onto her man like, girl, you have to stop. I was like, this is about you. Yes, there's things that he needs to fix, but this all started because of boom, boom, boom. Share her the things. It was you. This is a wounding in your own line, and this is something that you did in a previous relationship that you probably are holding on to a lot of guilt, and you have not forgiven yourself. You will not have a clean conversation about this until you clean up your side. This is what this is about. You cannot expect your partner to show up for you in the bedroom the way that you want him to if you have not started to clean up your side of your energy, your side of the field, your side of the street. So this is what we do. Okay. It's a beautiful, sacred journey. And I would love to invite you with us. We have 4 women inside, so there's only 6 spaces left. It's $999 paid in full. And if you do paid in full, you get a 1-to-1 private call with me valued at $222. So this call can be done anytime between now and the 6 weeks. Yeah, I think I have a couple of spaces like tomorrow, like if you were to sign up today. Or I might expand it just a little bit later, maybe like 2 weeks after the program is complete, because we're going to be really like in it. We're going to be so in it. Okay. So there's payment plans available for 3 monthly payments for $399. And you also receive Dripping Pleasure as part of the program. And you get immediate access to Dripping Pleasure, so you can start listening to it now. I highly recommend to listen to at least the first module. And you can just infuse dripping, you can weave dripping pleasure in within Sex Priestess. Do not worried about getting the full thing done within the 6 weeks, or, you know, this is not, you cannot rush your sexuality. If this was a money program or some kind of other program, I'd be like, yeah, totally. Get in there, listen to the things, activate, move your body, do the things. But when it comes to your body, this is about dropping in, slowing down, feeling, integrating, elongating pleasure and sensation, and even uncomfortable things, uncomfortable voids. All right, so that completes today. I'm going to put Sex Priestess here at the top. I would love to see you in there. I would love to invite you into this sacred journey. It's going to be so juicy. You're going to feel so alive in your body and as a woman. So, I'll see you tomorrow.